So the topic that I chose for my final assignment was biblical allusions. My thesis statement is biblical allusions in the humanities surprisingly let a religiously diverse audience better understand the human experience in the artworks of Outrunning Karma by Alec Benjamin, East of Eden by John Steinbeck, and Star Wars. I picked this topic because I feel like there's biblical allusions in basically anything, even if you're just saying about Jesus or Satan or anything that's related to Christianity instead of any other religion. And it helps communicate how good things are or how bad things are. So my first art piece is a song. It's Outrunning Karma by Alec Benjamin. The essential skill that I tied it to is creative thinking and making, because he takes his music to a different level. It sounds different than anything that I've really ever heard. I think that this is a cool concept for a song, and the way that he ties in so much history in his words, as well as telling a story of this man who is a player, essentially, for lack of better words. And I think that's just really cool that he's able to combine these different aspects into one piece of art. I connected it to Greek humanism because of some of the lyrics in the song. It's like the last days of Sparta follow him down to meet Apollo, and I just think that's such a good connection. So the fact that he tied Greek philosophers and war and stuff into this song to help emphasize how this guy is just going through life hoping for the best, even though he's done so much wrong, I think is really interesting. So the way that I tied it to a biblical allusion is because some of the lyrics also are from the church steeple down to Satan karma, and Satan is obviously a biblical figure, and the fact that he compared karma to Satan is insinuating how bad it must be to have karma. So if you don't know anything about karma, even though I think it's a pretty well used word, you can infer that it's bad just from him comparing it to Satan. I think objectively it's a good song because it uses some vocals as the background tone as well as other instruments, and it has a nice balance of rhythm, and the rhythm with the lyrics and the background just mesh well, in my opinion. So I'll do a quick listen of it.
He's never gonna make it. All the poor people he's forsaken. Karma is always gonna chase him for his lies. It's just a game of waiting from the church steeple down to Satan karma.
I also just think that the softness of his voice works with the harshness of the situation, like it's kind of downplaying a serious topic. So my second artwork is East of Eden by John Steinbeck, and it's a novel. I'd said for this one, it ties the essential skill of self-inspection, because it goes through generations of two brothers, and they're always improving themselves or analyzing who they are or who they want to be for their fathers, and trying to get that kind of attention, or fighting their brother because their brother gets the more attention. The characters are always growing and analyzing who they are and who other people are. I said that it reminds me, for the history of the humanities, it's like revealed truth and scholasticism. I'd say it follows revealed truth because it's religious. It's a highly religious story. It's based on a biblical allusion. The whole story is based on a biblical allusion. So in a sense, it has to have revealed truth, and that idea that there's something bigger out there that tells you what the truths are in the world. I said it kind of relates to scholasticism just because it has the revealed truth, and also because the characters are constantly learning and developing themselves, and it's just a time of knowledge, I feel. So the story is based on the biblical illusion of Cain and Abel, the story of Cain and Abel, and has the same and the characters in the story have the same character dynamics as Cain and Abel do in the Bible. So if you don't know the story, it's essentially two sons, and the father favors one son over the other, and the son that isn't favored has a hard time dealing with that and just wants his father's attention and craves it because he loves and cares about his father so much. So it leads to a hostility between the brothers. I said it's a strong story because it uses so many literary devices throughout it, obviously like allusions because the whole thing is based on an illusion, and metaphors, and it uses a large, diverse vocabulary, and I loved all the imagery in the book. It just really made the story come to life and made it feel like you were actually there. The excerpt that I took out of the book is trying to explain kind of the link between the biblical illusion of Cain and Abel and the story. So, do you remember when you read us the 16 verses of the 4th chapter of Genesis and we argued about them? I do indeed, and that's a long time ago. 10 years nearly, said Lee. Well, the story bit deeply into me, and I went into it word for word. The more I thought about the story, the more profound it became to me. Then I compared the translations we have, and they were fairly close. There was only one place that bothered me. The King James Version says this: "It is when Jehovah has asked Cain why he is angry. Jehovah says, 'If thou dost well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou dost not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.'" It was the "thou shalt" that struck me, because it was a promise that Cain would conquer sin. And then my last piece of art was the Star Wars. I forgot to put right here, it's the last Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, as you can see right, right here. So I said it shows like the essential skill of productive citizenry, because I mean that's the whole gist of it in my opinion, is making a better empire or a better leading government, and they want everybody to kind of fall in line. So the people that follow the system are really participating in this productive citizenry, whereas the rebels aren't. They want it to be changed, and they defy the ruler, so they're kind of going against the productive citizenry instead of following, like, basically just the empire. I said it showed kind of universal truth in modernism, just because they like to believe that something is true for everybody, or they think that they know what's good for everyone, and that universal truth being that people just need one ruler. One ruler is the universal truth because he was chosen, if that makes any sense. I know what I'm trying to say, I'm not bringing it across very well, because right now it doesn't sound like I'm talking about universal truth. I do see a lot of, like, other aspects of, like, modernism in it, too, where they're kind of not taking into account other people's needs. They're just creating what they believe is what everybody needs, and they're kind of shoving it onto other people, where I see modernism does that with art and stuff. They just shove their stuff onto other people and say, hey, this is still important. The biblical illusions that I saw in Star Wars is through the image of a destiny to fulfill, as Jesus had. Jesus had to fulfill his destiny to be God's son. And Rey, in these movies, is still fighting against that higher power and fulfilling her destiny as becoming the new face of the Jedi, because she is the last one left. I think objectively it's a great movie because the cinematography for the time was really cool to see, and and brand new. And the music always lines up with the actions of the characters. Like when a sad moment happens, the music's always low and ominous. Or like, yeah, when it's scary. And it's always like upbeat when they win like the wars and stuff, or the battles, if you will. And in the newer ones, I like how even the lightsabers seem to take on the personality of the people that like are holding them. So let's just take a quick look at this scene.
Who are you?
What are you most afraid of? You went straight to the dark.
Myself.
It wasn't your fault.
It wasn't. That power came from me.
So in conclusion, I think that different aspects of the media really help to portray biblical allusions, and it helps enhance the meaning behind these different works of art. And I think sometimes it's just taken for granted and it's not really analyzed. Even though people think it might be a popular biblical allusion, they might just leap over it and forget about it. And yeah.